Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari Jaya Gopi Jana Girivaradari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari Jaya Gopi Jana Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Kunja Vihari Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Kunja Vihari Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Vishnupada Paramahamsa Guracharya Sattara Shishimad and Grace Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Grantara Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Tai Gaura Premanande Hari Bol. All glories to the assembled Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled. All glories to Shri Guru and Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthapatale Srimati Tamal Krishna Vaswanti Namani. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthapatale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Namani. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gaurani Pracharine Nirvisesha Srimati Pashyata Visitata. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya. Narayanam Namaskritya. Naram Chaiva Narottamam. Naram Chaiva Narottamam. Devim Saraswatim Vyasam. Devim Saraswatim Vyasam. Tojayam Dhiraya Nasta Praishu Abhatreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavate Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhakti Naistiki. So, just found out that we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 16, Jaya and Vijaya, cursed by the sages. The third canto, status quo. Text starting 36. And then 37, Prabhu wants us to finish the chapter. 3:16, 36. Tayo asurayo adya tejasa yamayo iva akshipam itarhi bhagavan tad viditsati Tayorasurayoradya Tayorasurayoradya Tejasa Yamayohiva Tejasa Yamayohiva Akshiptam Teja Itarhi Akshiptam Teja Itarhi Bhagavan Sarviditsati Bhagavan Sarviditsati Ayorasurayoradya Tejasayamayorhiva Akshiptam Tejayetarhi Bhagavan Sarviditsati
Tayorasurayoradya Tejasayamayorhiva Akshiptam Tejayetarhi
Akshiptam Tejayetarhi
Bhagavan Sarviditsati
Bhagavan Sarviditsati
Tayorasurayoradya
Tayorasurayoradya
Tejasayamayorhiva
Tejasayamayorhiva
Akshiptam Tejayetarhi
Akshiptam Tejayetarhi
Bhagavan Sarviditsati
Bhagavan Sarviditsati
Tayorasurayoradya
Tayorasurayoradya
Tejasayamayorhiva
Tejasayamayorhiva
Akshiptam Tejayetarhi
Akshiptam Tejayetarhi
Bhagavan Sarviditsati
Bhagavan Sarviditsati Tayorasurayoradya Tejasayamayorhiva Akshiptam Tejayetarhi Bhagavan Sarviditsati
Is it? Tayo of the Asurayo of the two Asuras Adya today Tejasa by the prophets Yamayo of the twins He certainly Vaha of all you demigods Akshiptam agitated Tejaha power Itarhi thus certainly Bhagavan the Supreme Personality of Godhead that with its sati desires to do. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada Ki Jai. Translation. It is the prowess of these twin asuras, demons, that has disturbed you. For it has minimized your power. There's no remedy within my power. However, for it is the Lord Himself who desires to do all this. Please repeat. It is the prowess of these twin asuras, demons, that has disturbed you. For it has minimized your power. There is no remedy within my power. However, for it is the Lord Himself who desires to do all this. Purport. Although Hiranyakashipu and Hiranyaksha, formerly Jaya and Vijaya, became asuras, the demigods of this material world could not control them. And therefore Lord Brahma said, that neither he nor all the demigods could counteract the disturbance they created. They came within the material world by the order of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and he alone could counteract such disturbances. In other words, although Jaya and Vijaya assumed the bodies of asuras, they remained more powerful than anyone, thus proving that the Supreme Personality of Godhead desired to fight, because the fighting spirit is also within him. He is the original in everything. But when he desires to fight, he must fight with a devotee. Therefore, by his desire only were Jaya and Vijaya cursed by the Kumaras. The Lord ordered the gatekeepers to go down to the material world to become his enemies so that he could fight with them, and his fighting desires would be satisfied by the service of his personal devotees. Brahma showed the demigods that the situation created by the darkness for which they were disturbed was the desire of the Supreme Lord. He wanted to show that even though these two attendants were coming in the form of demons, they were very powerful, greater than the demigods who could not control them. No one can surpass the acts of the Supreme Lord. The demigods were also advised not to try to counteract this incident because it was ordered by the Lord. Similarly, anyone who is ordered by the Lord to perform some action in this material world, especially preaching his glories, cannot be counteracted by anyone. The will of the Lord is executed under all circumstances. Vishvasya yasitilayodbhava heturadyo yogeshwarayrapi duradyaya yogamayah Chaimam vidasyati sano bhagavam strayadishash tatrasmadiya vimshena kiyani hartaha. My dear sons, the Lord is the controller of the three modes of nature and is responsible for the creation, preservation, and dissolution of the universe. His wonderful creative power, Yoga Maya, cannot be easily understood even by the masters of yoga. That most ancient person, this personality of Godhead, will alone come to our rescue. What purpose can we serve on his behalf by deliberating on the subject? Purport: when something is arranged by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, one should not be disturbed by it, even if it appears to be a reverse according to one's calculations. For example, sometimes we see that a powerful preacher is killed, or sometimes he is put into difficulty, just as Haridas Thakur was. He was a great devotee who came into this material world to execute the will of the Lord by preaching the Lord's glories. But Haridas was punished at the hands of the Qazi by being beaten in 22 marketplaces. Similarly, Lord Jesus Christ was crucified and Prahlad Maharaj was put through so many tribulations. The Pandavas, who were direct friends of Krishna, lost their kingdom, their wife was insulted, and they had to undergo many severe tribulations. Seeing all these reverses affect devotees, one should not be disturbed. One should simply understand that in these matters, there must be some plan of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The Bhagavatam's conclusion is that a devotee is never disturbed by such reverses. He accepts even reverse conditions as the grace of the Lord. One who continues to serve the Lord even in reverse conditions is assured that he will go back to Godhead, back to the Vaikuntha planets. Lord Brahma assured the demigods that there was no use in talking about how the disturbing situation of darkness was taking place. Since the actual fact was that it was ordered by the Supreme Lord, Brahma knew this because he was a great devotee. It was possible for him to understand the plan of the Lord. Thus, in the Bhaktivedanta purports of the third canto, 16th chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam, titled The Two Doorkeepers of Vaikuntha, Jaya and Vijaya, cursed by the sages. So, just to give you a background from what I remember, the Diti has conceived uh, both the child, now the two children, Jaya and Jaya, in the form of Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakashipu. But because Kasyapa, Kasyapa told her that they will cause a lot of problem. So she being a good person, didn't want the children to cause problem. And so by her prowess or her ability, she didn't want to deliver the child, both the children. So she had the power, the yoga, to control such that the children and both the children cannot take birth. So for 100 years she was controlling. But because she was controlling and the Lord's desire was they should come, and so this potency of the two children started to disturb the heavenly planets and so on. So darkness spread everywhere. So they are all bewildered. The demigods are totally bewildered. And so they are thinking, how is this possible? What power is so great that can overcome our abilities? Because who are the demigods? The demigods are administrators of the universal affairs. So they take care of all the problems in the universe. Make sure these planetary systems are rotating properly. Make sure the people are getting food, rain, everything. So they have that service also. Jai Shri Shri Radha Madhava Hari Ki Jai, Shri Shri Gaunitai Ki Jai, Shri Nath Ji Ki Jai, Shri ISKCON Guru Parampara Ki Jai. All right. So the demigods were thinking, how is that possible? Because we control everything. And even the sun god, he brings the light to different areas in the universe, upper and middle and lower planet. Not lower planet, but upper and middle at least. So everyone was confused. So they approached Brahma, who's the head of all the demigods, and they asked him, what is the situation? Sometimes you do not know, right? You come to the temple and you see something is happening. And then you will think, why is this doing? Who is this person doing? Or what? And who is this person sitting giving class like that? So instead of trying to speculate, you have to go and ask the authority. And so we always ask the temple president or someone who's in charge. Say, who is this person singing or who is this person talking? Why are they doing this? Who gave them the permission like that? Yeah. We do that. And so then we get the answers. But if you speculate, then you come to your own conclusion. So similarly here, Brahma is telling them, don't waste your time trying to figure out too many things, because I am telling you the story. So he relates the story of who these two personalities are, Jai and Vijay. They were originally the gatekeepers. And because of some arrangement by the Lord, they offended the four Kumaras. Actually, the four Kumaras wouldn't have been offended, but the Lord made them feel like that. So they became offended by Jai and Vijay. And the reason he gives is because Jai and Vijay, again, it's all arranged by the Lord, one time stopped the concert of Vishnu, Narayan's Lakshmi, from coming to see him. They stopped him. So she got very angry. So she cursed them also. So for that offense, the Lord arranged for his personal gatekeepers to come down. And the other reason that Srila Prabhupada gives us in the purport to 36, verse 36, is that sometimes the Lord wants to do certain activities. Now in the spiritual world, they don't fight. Everything, yes, particularly in Vaikuntha, is in awe and reverence. So it's all pujas, like they're doing arati, singing, readings, scriptures, glorifying the Lord, taking care of the place. But there's no intimacy that is where they can do wrestling like Krishna does. Krishna and the cowherd boys, they play wrestling and all. But Narayan cannot do that. Narayan and Lakshmi must only give blessings. So, but he also has his desire, right? All of you have desires. You want to sometimes eat something special, you tell the cook, can you cook, please? Like that. Offer the Lord, I want to eat. Huh? Or let's go to picnic, we want to have some picnic. Or I want to do some swimming. Huh? Or I want to do gym so I can get more muscle. Even though I try, nothing is coming out. So we try all those things. So similarly, even the Lord has desires. Just like you have desires, the Lord also has desires. So his desire was on that particular issue here is he wanted to fight. And you might think, why the Lord want to fight? Right? Why he wants to fight? Because we think the Lord shouldn't fight. We think he cannot have such desires. We have our own conclusion about how the Lord should be. Right or not? We all think, the Lord is standing there eternally. No, that is not the situation. The Lord is also active like us. That's like we have so many desires. Look, in the material world, we have all kinds of desires. So in the spiritual world also there's unlimited desires, but they're all spiritual desires. So the Lord wanted to have some fighting, but he cannot do in Vaikuntha. Because in Vaikuntha everything is in awe and reverence, and everyone see him, they worship him. Right? Correct or not? Like your father, if you have your father in your home, you will say, oh, my dad, how are you, like that. You don't go and say, father, what, come, let's fight, like that. You won't do that. But let's say your father is in a competition, a wrestling match, and you also in a competition wrestling match, then you can do the wrestling with him. Or in a horse race, or in a sports, like that. Sometimes you see in Olympics, there are brothers having the same competition, right? They are fighting with each other or competing with each other, like that. So the same way, in Vaikuntha, this situation of fighting cannot take place because it's all worship and awe and reverence. So just like you come to the temple room, you worship, right? You don't fight. You're not supposed to, but the point is we don't do any other things. You can sing, you can dance, you can discuss the scripture. These are the things that happens in Vaikuntha planet also. Therefore, to fulfill his desire, the Lord arranged for his gatekeepers to come to earthly planets. Where else? The best place to do it is Earth. This Madhya Lokas or Martya Lokas is the best place. In the heavenly planets, the demigods all are very powerful and they will do other things. But in this middle planetary system, it's easier. But in this particular case, Diti and Kashyapa, they are also demigods. Okay, they are sages and his wife, but they are also demigods. So therefore, they got these children, twins, Hiranyakashipu and Hiranyakashipu. So they are about to take birth. So even before they took birth, you can see how much problem they're causing. So just imagine what they will do. So then Brahma then explained, these personalities are going to cause so much problem, you cannot defeat them. This is another reason to understand. Sometimes we think we are better than someone else. And some devotee will say, no, that devotee is good. He can do things better than you. No, I want to prove. So same way the demigods are thinking they can go and compete. With, whatever it is, we will destroy it. We are capable. We are empowered by the Lord himself. So Brahma is explaining, sometimes even the Lord empowers certain individuals to become inimical to his own teachings. And in this particular case, it's because then he can fight, right? If you are a devotee, then you will say, no, Prabhu, it's okay. So you will say, no, my Lord, I don't want to fight with you because I love you. So how else he is going to get? That's one reason. The second reason is the persons who can come and fight with the Lord must also be qualified. An ordinary living entity can take that role of an enemy of the Lord also. You must have certain qualification, a certain level of qualification. So then he picked his own devotees who are very qualified, and he made them come down. So this is what we call, sometimes it's called Leela, means pastime. The Lord's desire comes in different ways. So this is one form. And so this Leela manifests through Jai and Vijay. And you may say, why he has to create so much problem? Well, that's the desire of the Lord. We sometimes think we know all the answers. Or we think that this is the way it should be. But we are not the Supreme Lord. So how do we know to what level the Lord desires certain things? How do we know? We don't know. But we think like that. Right? We think, oh, I think this is the way it should be done. I think, now actually we don't do anything in our own way. How do? We follow? We follow the authorities, we follow the scripture. So just like you see, the Prabhu is doing Aarti. This is all coming from, yeah, Sampradaya, but it's coming from where? Spiritual world, Vaikuntha. This is exactly what they do also. So whatever activities Srila Prabhupada has taught us, it's all spiritual activities. The cooking, the Arati ceremony, the Kirtans, the preaching, everything is spiritual activities. Sometimes we don't understand how it appears to be spiritual. But acharyas like Srila Prabhupada or advanced devotees can explain to us. So the connection is Nirbandha Krishna Sambandha. That means if you use it in the service of Krishna, then it is spiritual. But if you use it for our own sense enjoyment, then it is not spiritual. So just like we are doing Aarti for Krishna. Now in India, there's a place where they have a temple for Amitabh Bachchan. And people are doing Aarti. So that is not considered spiritual. Okay? So we have to understand how it is. So similarly here, Brahma as the head of the universe, he's explaining to the demigods the situation that they are all seeing, and they shouldn't get so too bewildered by it. It is not something that they can solve, because it's a particular desire the Lord wants that they themselves cannot give to the Lord. Because as devotees, we cannot do that kind of a service. So the service that Jai and Vijay are producing here or providing is becoming inimical. And that's how they are doing their service. They were asked by the Lord and they agreed. Actually, the Lord gave them two choices. So you can come 6 times in the earthly planets or in the mirror to do devotional service as a punishment for 6 lifetimes. And then after that you can come back. Or you can do 3 lifetimes as demons and you can come back. So because they are devotees, they want to come back quickly to the spiritual world. So they say, yeah, we'll become demons. I'll be a demon and I'll fight with you. And then they decided. And so the Lord said, so be it. So they both, at this situation, at this point in time in the Bhagavatam, they are about to take birth. They're about to take birth like that. Yeah. So then this, in one sense, the Lord is also glorifying Jai and Jai. We cannot see it, but in a sense he is. How? Because of the potency they are providing. The whole universe is going dark. So everyone is talking about these persons now. But they are very dear to Krishna, to Narayana, Jai and Vijay. So indirectly they are being glorified. Look at their potency. Look how powerful they are. Look at my devotees who are going to be my enemies. Look what they are doing. So Brahma is explaining to all the demigods. All right, now you guys understand what the situation is. Don't go looking for trouble with these personalities because they're very powerful. And later on, you will see both Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakashipu, they create havoc. They go all over the universe. They completely, no one can be able to stop them. Complete havoc. Now, having said that, in the last verse, verse 37, Srila Prabhupada writes in the purport that when something is arranged by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, one should not be disturbed by it, even if it appears to be a reverse according to one's calculation. That's a very important thing. Huh? Sometimes, because of our intelligence, we think what is right and wrong. Just like in the case of Yudhishthira Maharaj, Krishna and the Pandavas, they came up with a plan to defeat Dronacharya, right? Now, Dronacharya could not be defeated. He was so powerful. The only thing he will give up his activity is when he hears his son is killed. And so Krishna told Yudhishthira that you have to say that. But Yudhishthira was thinking, I can't lie. In his heart, he's always been truthful. So he didn't want to lie. But this is who's asking him? The Supreme Lord. So what is truth?
Whatever he says.
Whatever the Supreme Lord says is truth. It's not according to our understanding. Because whether the Lord does good or bad, it's always good. It's very difficult to understand this thing, but it requires some purification. So the Lord told, and then Yudhishthira didn't want to do it. But so, anyway, he said he agreed. So in the battle, he shouts, everybody shouts, Aswathama is dead. But actually, there was an elephant called Aswathama, and Bhima killed it. And then everyone shouted, Ashwathama is dead, Ashwathama is dead. So Dronacharya did not trust anyone except Yudhishthira. So he says, Yudhishthira, you only speak the truth, so tell me. So then he says, yes, Ashwathama is dead. Ashwathama, the elephant. But when he said the elephant, everyone shouted, so Dronacharya couldn't hear that. So then he gave up the will to fight because he loved his son so much. Then Dronacharya gave up. And then he sat down and Dhrisadumna came and killed him like that. But actually, he really didn't kill him. He gave up his life before he was killed. He went into yogic trance, and then at the same time, Dhrisadumna cut his head off. So people don't understand these things, that the Lord is organizing this to show us that his words are always the law, not what we think is the law. Sometimes we only know the basic understanding of what law is. Why did the Lord do this? For the benefit of the society. He did that. Dronacharya made many mistakes and committed sinful activities also. So therefore, the Lord wanted to show that if you don't follow the rules and the regulations, then he organizes it in such a way to make you bewilder also. So that similarly here in this pastime, we don't judge the Lord's decisions for why he has to bring these two, Jaya and Vijaya, as such a demon to cause so much problem. So therefore, Srila Prabhupada says, sometimes it's arranged, it appears to be the reverse. It appears means from our level of understanding, it seems it is wrong. The Lord's activities are wrong. And it's very hard to understand sometimes. It may take us our whole lifetime to appreciate why the Lord did that. Right? Sometimes your whole life you're thinking, oh, that is wrong. I don't like that. Krishna shouldn't have done that. I don't like that. The reason is we are not at the level to understand Krishna's decisions. And sometimes we think all the answers must be there. No, some answers are not revealed. Why? Because Krishna also tests our faith in him. No matter what he does, as I said before, is always correct and perfect. That is a test of our faith also. All right. Sometimes you'll find in the Bhagavatam statements that bewilder you. Why is that? So that people who don't have sufficient faith, people who are inimical to Krishna, people who find fault in Krishna, for them it is stated like that. So that they have an excuse to give up the practice. They will practice, otherwise they will practice and still be offensive to Krishna. But if they have an excuse, they say, hey, look, he cheated, I don't like him. Okay, I don't worship. But actually they are looking for such excuse. They don't want to surrender because surrender is too complicated, no? Very difficult, right? To give up so many things. You have to give up your nonsense. We don't want to give up our nonsense. We don't want to surrender to the Supreme Lord. So when Krishna tells all that, people don't like it. Why he makes life so difficult? They come up with all kinds of very amazing conclusions. Why Krishna make us leave the spiritual world? Krishna didn't make us leave. we left the spiritual. It's called free will. We all have choices, right? You were all young children and your parents told you don't do some things, right? Right? Gail, don't do this. And then you still went and did it. Correct or not? Why? Because you had free will. Even though you knew your parents didn't like it, you still did it. So similarly in the spiritual world, we had the knowledge. We shouldn't do it. But still we went ahead and did something wrong. And so the Lord say, okay, when you do something wrong, you have to be punished. So we came to this material world. Why? To learn, not to make the same mistakes again. And that's the reason. We are here to learn. Learn how to behave as a pure devotee. So this is a learning process for all of us. So when we see Krishna's actions that seem to contradict all mundane rules, then the issue is not with Krishna. The issue is our misunderstanding. The issue is our lack of proper knowledge. And ultimately the issue is we lack faith in the Supreme Lord. Therefore we see it as something wrong. Now you may have some good faith also, but you may not understand. So sometimes what do? You ask an advanced devotee, please can you explain? They may explain nicely and still you may not understand. Why? Why is that? Because you are not sufficiently surrendered or purified. Because we are all in the different levels of purification. The qualification is not there yet. Just like in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, right? Eshtam tu antagata papam jananam punya karmanaha te dunda nirmukta bhajate mam drutavritaha. One who still is sinful cannot take up the process of worshipping Krishna. It's not possible. Impossible. So he says, when they have completed those purification, given up sinful life, then they can take up the process with determination. What does determination here means? That they will not think that Krishna is wrong. Whatever Krishna is, I accept. There is also a pastime. One time Narad Muni was in a village. So he was chanting, and he was walking through a marketplace. There, a Brahmana was there. He says, Narada, my great Rishi, where are you going? Yes, you're singing so nicely. He says, I'm going to Vaikuntha to see Narayana. And he says, when you are Narayana, oh, you're going to see, tell her, when you please ask Narayana how, when I'm going back to Godhead. Will I live in this lifetime? Will I go to Vaikuntha in this life? Then Narada said, yes, I will ask him. So then he went further. Then along the way, he saw one cobbler, and he also said, oh, Narada, so wonderful to see you. Please ask the Lord when I can go back to Vaikuntha also. Then the Narada said, yes, I will ask. So he went to the spiritual. So whilst he was serving the Lord there, then he asked the question. I had this question from these two wonderful devotees of you. They're asking when they can come to Vaikuntha. The Lord smiled and said, you ask them, Narada, when you go, you ask. They will ask you, if you have been, you will tell them this following things. The Brahmana will not go back in this lifetime. The cobbler will go back. Then Narada was saying, yes, my Lord, is that it? Then he said, yes. They will ask you, what am I doing? You tell them that I am putting an elephant through the eye of a needle. And you will understand why. So then Narada came down to the marketplace. And then the Brahmana saw him. He said, oh, you're back. So did you see the Lord? Please tell me, when am I going back to Vaikuntha? Then Narada said, you're not going in this lifetime. So he got very angry. He said, what do you mean? I'm doing all the worship, I'm praying, and I'm doing everything nicely. What do you mean? So then he said, I don't believe that you went to Vaikuntha. Then Narada looked at him and he said, tell me what the Lord was doing. So then Narada said, the Lord was putting an elephant through the eye of a needle. And the Brahmana said, what is this nonsense you are talking? How can you put an elephant in a needle? You didn't go to Vaikuntha. You are lying. Go away. So Narada said, Narayana, and he left. So he came to the cobbler. And the cobbler also was so happy to see Narada. It's a very wonderful sage. He said, my dear Narada, you are back. Please tell me, how is the Supreme Lord doing? What is he doing and all those things? How wonderful he is. Then he said, the Lord is putting the elephant through the eye of a needle, my dear cobbler. Then the cobbler said, wow, that is so amazing. The Lord is so amazing that he could do such things. And he was so happy. Such is the glory of the Supreme Lord, that he could do all sorts of wonderful things. As soon as he said that, from Vaikuntha, the associates of Narayana came. The whole celestial lotus airplane came. And then they took the cobbler back to the spiritual world immediately. So you can see, for one person, it was a contradiction. They could not accept. They could not, in their imagination, understand the possibility that the Lord can do such activities. For the other person, because the person has faith that the Lord can do anything, he wasn't confused. So in the same way here, in this pastime, you can see why the Lord sanctioned both Jai and Vijay to become his enemies. Because from our point of view, we think we are devotees, we should always be favorably serving. But this is a special context here, special case. That the Lord wanted somebody to fight with, nice fighting. So he asked his two associates and they agreed. So, and then this is why we are reading this particular section. Therefore, he has wonderful creative power, yoga maya. And no one can understand this. The potency is so bewildering. As it is, the material energy is bewildering for us. What to speak of the Lord's yoga maya potency. It is even more bewildering when he does that. And therefore, Brahma told everyone, you cannot understand this. It is possible for the Lord and therefore he can do this. But through Brahma, all the demigods understood the plan for the first time. The first time they realized, oh, the Lord is behind this. So we have to try to serve him. And it's difficult still. You know, like if someone just comes in the temple room and shouts at us, how do we know if it was sanctioned or not sanctioned by the Lord? Right? But we know our duty. Correct? We should protect the deities. We shouldn't allow people to shout in the temple. So we will ask them, please come here, we'll talk to you, like that. And take them out of the temple room. Like so we should understand the principles properly. Then we can act properly. Okay? And Prabhupada gives the examples of Haridas Thakur. How he was put into so many times in difficulties. How he was punished every marketplace. 22 marketplace he was punished. So from ordinary point of view, we think this is very bad. Why the Lord did that? So later on, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu tells Haridas Thakur, actually, he shows him the bag. And Mahaprabhu shows that even though Haridas Thakur was taking the punishment, the Lord personally took it. So when we serve the Lord sincerely with full faith, the Lord is acting on our behalf sometimes. Even though we don't know. But the Lord arranges for us. So these are all bewildering things. But with sufficient practice and association, these activities become easy to understand, easy to appreciate. The Lord also says to Arjuna, Name Bhakta Pranashyati. My devotees are never destroyed or defeated. And therefore, sometimes it is very difficult to understand how the Lord enables such activities, and therefore we think this is not possible. From a mundane point of view, it is wrong. But from a higher perspective, from Krishna's point of view, this is correct. Okay. So I see that there's a lot of people coming, so maybe I'll stop here. They're coming for yoga or something, right? Over here? At the back. Okay, so we'll stop this, unless you all have some comments. Okay, there's one thing that you need to know. Sometimes, Prabhupada says, sometimes we see that a powerful preacher is killed. Sometimes very nice devotee preaching very nicely, sometimes they are killed. Then you are thinking, why Krishna did? Why Krishna took away such nice, wonderful? Maybe Krishna has another plan for that person. So Krishna took them away for some other better service somewhere. That's one way of seeing it. The other thing is, why cannot a powerful preacher die suddenly? Correct? We think death means is where death is there a wonderful death. Everyone is going to die anyway. So there's no such thing as a good death. Right? Death is death. Whether you die in an accident, whether you die by a disease, whether you get your head chopped off, whether you have an accident, death is death. Doesn't matter how it comes. So we shouldn't get bewildered. We think a powerful preacher means he must give up his life very beautifully. Not necessary. The Lord can arrange, oh, I need him now. Okay, you get into an accident, he'll come quickly. Like that. Okay, so because we are not sufficiently purified, it's hard to understand certain things. But through practice nicely, chant nicely. It's very important to chant and follow regulatory principles. You will understand all this very nicely. So I'll stop here. Comments, corrections. If not, yeah.
Falling down the Bible, the planet too fast. But why back to Godhead is too hard? Not too fast. too slow.
Yeah, so the question is, when we come from the spiritual world, it's so easy. We fall down. But to go back is so difficult. The reason is we are not ready to give up things in this material world. We are very attached to everything in the material world. We have made a very nice place for us to live, right? And we don't want to give up. For example, tomorrow, if I say, okay, you give up everything in your home, come to the temple, shave up, you will panic because you are attached to those things. So therefore, it takes a while to get purification, to understand why I have to give up. That's one reason. The other reason is for so many lifetimes we have taken birth here. And so we have formed a very good bonding with the material energy. And we are not willing to give up the material energy. We have become best friends with the material nature, Maya. Even though Maya is kicking us, making us suffer so much, but we still like that relationship more than the relationship that Krishna is offering at this moment. You understand? And that's because we are attached to this material energy now. How do you get out of it? You have to be in the burning fire of spiritual knowledge and service. You cannot just do 1 hour, 10-minute service, expect to go back to Vaikuntha. It's not going to happen. You have to show. What is the verse in the Vishnu Purana or Padma Purana? Smartavya Sadatam Vishnu Vishmartavya Najatus. Always remember Krishna. Never forget Krishna. Means you're always serving Krishna. Serving is devotees 24/7. Are you at that stage? So mostly we are not. So therefore, it is harder to go back. Just like we go to the demigod planet, so many wonderful enjoyments. It is like a million times more greater enjoyment in the demigod planet than here. How to give up? The only way you can give up is you have a higher taste. Param Drisva Nivarte. So if you have a higher taste, you can give up the material energy. So we haven't developed the higher taste to serve Krishna yet. And that's the reason it's difficult to go back. Okay?
We can see also on the material platform something that you want to create nice. Like for this temple to build it. It takes so much effort.
Yes.
But if you want to destroy the temple, we can have a bulldozer and in 10 hours, the whole building will be gone.
That is true.
So something that, you want to be destructive part, it's very easy. To fall down is very easy.
Yeah.
But to go back, create something, it's always good.
Yeah, that's nice. Anything else?
So sometimes, so people use the pretext of they will do the not good things, and then everything is will of not.
Yeah, that is also a nonsense philosophy.
How we go with that?
It's a nonsense philosophy. Like I said, when you take birth, there are rules and regulations to be followed. Okay, so those rules and regulations must be in line with the Supreme Lord's desire. Not that you go and kill people and say, oh, it's the will of Lord, it's their karma that I kill them. Like that. No. What is the rule? What is the law of the land? So all those you have to follow. And you cannot just come out and say, oh no, Krishna wanted me to kill. Then you say, if Krishna wanted to kill, let's find out where Krishna said you can. Or sometimes people say, he came in my dream and told me to do these things. So then you have to check with Guru, Sadhu and Shastra, whether this is bona fide or not. And then you see what their activities is. Are they following scripture? Are they doing devotional service? Are they doing nonsense? Are they breaking principles? If they are doing all nonsense, then Krishna cannot talk to them. Okay? So this it's there, but we have to be very intelligent enough to answer it.
told preaching happens in Vaikuntha, so preaching is happening in Vaikuntha also.
Yeah, they're always glorifying. That is preaching. Yeah, they're not in that sense of preaching to us, but they are glorifying. I should have used the word glorifying. Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much. Grantara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Gaura Premanand.